Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital. Alexis got the substantiation she demanded to prove that Willow's shamefaced, Molly and Cody came sanctioned, and Olivia refocused a gun at Drew. What happened on General Hospital? Drew and Willow returned home, and he was furious about Carly discovering a drink on him. He was lowered that Carly did that in public, and although she prompted him to let it go, Drew declared that he could not do that. Nina stopped by to check on Willow, but Drew was pertinacious that Willow would be acquitted. Willow continued to make faces that Drew could not see, further proving her misprision for her hubby. An alternate knock at the door was Martin, with a court order demanding that he return the Quartermaine heritages to their due possessors. Drew refused to misbehave, and he left with Martin to defy Tracy to her face. Nina was relieved that Drew eventually left, and Willow participated her sentiment. Nina noticed how her son laboriously disliked her new hubby. Willow denied her mama's claim, and Nina honored how exhausting pretending to love Drew might have been. Willow was furious that Drew concentrated so much on framing Michael for the tried murder rather of helping her case. Nina was induced that Michael was the true shamefaced party, ignorant that Willow was the secret shooter. Nina asked Willow if she believed that Drew deliberately kept her from her children. She hoped it was not true. Nina prompted her to disjoin Drew, especially if Michael were to go to captivity. With Michael out of the way, she would end up with full custody. Michael and Jacinda hung out with Wiley, putatively cozying into an unborn dynamic. Still, it was bedtime, so Wiley wouldn't be awake much longer. Michael could not commit to Jacinda playing games with Wiley the following day, so they planned for a gaming session in the future. Michael wanted to avoid Tracy's family blend hour, so he floated the idea of leaving to avoid it. At the Quartermaine forces, Cody and Felicia frenetically searched for James' riding gloves. Cody's head was not where it should be, but Felicia told him not to be embarrassed about his connection to Molly. Still, Cody did not suppose Molly felt the same. Felicia apologized that effects did not go well, and Cody was not used to being rejected. This was a first for him. It was a significant bruise to his pride. He honored that he and Molly had danced around being together for a while now, and he allowed. Commodity Special had been erecting. Cody felt like participating his true passions with Molly presumably spooked her off. He wanted effects to work with her because of her inconceivable attributes. Cody admired and respected her, and she had overhauled all of his studies. Molly and Christina met at the Port Charles Grill to talk about Molly's first date with Cody. Christina screamed when she heard that Molly and Cody slept together in Justine's office. She was shocked that her family did Commodity so impulsive. Molly rude saying no to James' inquiry about if she was Cody's gal. She told her family how awkward it was, and she did not suppose it was salvageable. Christina prompted her to make effects work. Michael and Jacinda arrived at the eatery and joined Christina. They asked her to join them, and although she wanted to give them alone time at first, she agreed to join. Michael asked about Alexis, but Christina had not spoken to her. She did not agree with her mama throwing her family under the machine. Michael entered a call from Wiley, which gave Jacinda a moment to apologize. Jacinda allowed. She made effects worse for Michael. Christina issued a reason of her own for trying to buy off Jacinda. The plutocrat had been returned, and Michael returned to the two, and they joked about Wiley's competitiveness. Christina shifted gears, asking Michael how he felt about potentially being intertwined in Drew's firing. Molly showed up to the forces suddenly, so Felicia took off to give them some space. Molly asked to go first, so she could say what she wanted to. Cody felt like it was too late for her to take back that she wanted to be his gal, so it was sanctioned. Tracy reminded her family members that her father used to host a blend hour. She has decided to reinstate it, and Chase had believed it was a great tradition. Ned was surprised that his drink did not have any alcohol in it, but everyone in the room allowed. Tracy made the correct choice. Ned asked what the point of surviving was if he could not enjoy his life. Tracy bandied her judge friend subscribing off on a court order for Drew to return the family heritages. Olivia questioned whether it was a good idea or not because of how unpredictable Drew had come. Ned recalled how fighting with Drew over the stolen particulars led to his heart attack. Olivia tried to get the family to ignore the situation and make peace. Still, Ned chimed in, saying absolutely not, and intimating at commodity that Drew had done. Everyone demanded translucency about what happened. Ned came clean and told the family that Drew had left him there to die after his heart attack. Olivia lost it, and before she could come more unglued, Drew slogged into the house. Yuri was ready to take out Drew himself, but Tracy called him off. Tracy asked why Drew was there, and he claimed that she would no way get down with it. Drew promised to tie it up in the courts for times, but she was not upset. Tracy realized that Martin was the person who wrote the anonymous letter to Alexis. Drew was proud of his attorney, but Tracy called him a worm. Brooke Lynn ripped into Drew for walking down from her father, potentially going him his life. Next, Olivia appeared on the stairs and refocused a gun directly at Drew. She said, "You left my hubby to die like a canine. And the only reason I have not pulled this detector yet is that Ned is still alive." Olivia ordered Drew and Martin to leave, and Chase refused to intermediate as well. She reminded Drew that she was an excellent shot, and she said if he wanted her to finish the job that someone, Willow, started. Drew made the smart choice and left, but once he did leave, Olivia verified to everyone that it was not loaded. Alexis invited Trina and Kai outside, and they asked to keep effects non-public. Alexis promised not to go against her word, and Trina believed that they could trust her. Alexis asked who they allowed. Shot Drew, and she looked puzzled that they claimed Willow was the perpetrator. They went on to reveal that they knew for sure because they were present at the time of the crime. They explained that they broke into Drew's home to find the substantiation he used to blackmail Portia. Alexis questioned how they were so convinced that Willow was shamefaced if they no way saw her on the night of the firing. Still, they said that although they did not see her that evening, they heard her. Alexis asked what they heard, and Trina went on about Twinkle Twinkle Little Star playing after Drew was shot. Alexis, naturally, allowed. Michael could have had the same ringtone, but also they bared that the ringtone belonging to Michael was Wiley's voice. Likewise, the couple heard Willow's phone ring outside the courtroom, and it matched what they had heard at the scene. Alexis realized that Trina and Kai had done their schoolwork. Trina believed that Willow married Drew solely to cover her tracks about shooting him. Alexis asked if it were possible that her customer was a cold thoroughbred killer who had everyone wisecracked. Now that Kai and Trina had told Alexis everything, they asked how she planned to do. Still, she told them that she would do absolutely nothing. Alexis had to defend her customer, shamefaced or not. They hovered to go to the police themselves, but she called their Baranka. Alexis told them, "If you go to the police, you'll be entwining yourselves. And I am not just seeing this for Willow's sake. I am saying it for yours." Trina was oppressively dissatisfied in Alexis, and they left her office, doubtful how to do. After they were gone, Alexis went through Willow's phone records and called the number that had called Willow on the night of the firing. Wiley answered, and at that moment Alexis realized that everything Trina and Kai said was true. Willow was the shooter. The week of January 12th to 16th on General Hospital promises a whirlwind of tension, drama, and shocking revelations as multiple storylines collide. From courtroom intrigues to personal betrayals, the city of Port Charles becomes the stage for high-stakes confrontations, daring confessions, and emotional reckonings that threaten to shake families to their core. At the center of these interwoven plots are Anna Devane's strategic maneuvers, Alexis Davis's legal revelations, the growing relationship between Molly Lansing Davis and Cody Bell, and the explosive showdown involving Drew Kane, Willow Tate, and the Quartermaine family. It all begins with Drew and Willow returning home after yet another turbulent day. Drew's temper flares over what might seem like a trivial incident to outsiders. Carly had accidentally spilled a drink on him in public. Humiliation burned deep, and Drew refused to let the slight go unnoticed. Carly tried to brush it off, insisting it wasn't a big deal, but Drew's pride and the lingering tension between him and his surroundings made it impossible for him to simply ignore the incident. His indignation set the tone for a night brimming with confrontation, suspicion, and revelation. Meanwhile, Willow maintained her calm, or at least her outward composure, but her subtle expressions, the twitch of a brow, the faint smirk, hinted at an inner disdain Drew could not see. Her secret was heavy, and every glance and gesture carried a silent defiance. When Nina Reeves stopped by to check on her daughter, she noted the tension immediately. Drew was convinced that Willow would eventually be acquitted of all charges, and he expressed his confidence, unaware that the true situation was far more complicated. The day's drama escalated with a second knock at the door. This time, it was Martin Gray arriving with a court order demanding that the Quartermain heirlooms be returned to their rightful owners. Drew's response was swift and defiant. He refused to comply, unwilling to yield to Tracy's demands. Rather than retreat, he chose confrontation, accompanying Martin to face Tracy in person and make a statement of resistance. In the quiet aftermath, Nina breathed a sigh of relief as Drew left, and Willow shared a subtle smile of her own. The two women understood that Drew's presence, though dominating, was an obstacle to navigating the delicate personal and legal dynamics at play. Nina, ever observant, couldn't help but notice Willow's growing emotional distance from her new husband. Willow denied any active dislike, but Nina recognized the strain of maintaining appearances. Pretending to love someone, or to be enamored with them, can be exhausting, especially when personal motives, hidden truths, and legal stakes are all intertwined. Willow, despite outward appearances, was furious that Drew seemed more focused on framing Michael for the attempted murder than helping her build a robust legal defense. Nina, convinced of Michael's innocence and unaware of Willow's secret role as the actual shooter, voiced her opinions with concern and candor, reinforcing the tension between family loyalty, justice, and personal survival. Nina's probing questions cut to the heart of Willow's personal dilemma. Did Willow believe Drew intentionally kept her from her children? Was there a calculated strategy behind his actions? Nina hoped not, but she couldn't ignore the pattern of behavior that suggested deliberate obstruction. She urged Willow to consider divorcing Drew, reasoning that if Michael were out of the picture, wrongfully imprisoned, as far as anyone knew, Willow would have the opportunity to secure full custody of her children and rebuild her life on her own terms. This counsel, while practical in the realm of Port Charles's soap opera logic, also highlighted the moral complexity of Willow's choices, straddling the line between ambition, self-preservation, and familial obligation. In a more domestic and light-hearted subplot, Michael Corinthos and Jacinda Bracken navigated the subtle intricacies of co-parenting and social engagement with Wiley. Though the evening schedule called for bedtime for the young boy, Michael and Jacinda's playful interaction hinted at the possibility of a future dynamic that could combine affection, shared responsibility, and perhaps romantic undertones. Michael, conscious of avoiding the fraught Quartermain cocktail hour, floated the idea of a future gaming session with Jacinda and Wiley, reflecting the characters' attempts at creating moments of normalcy amid an otherwise chaotic and high-stakes environment. Meanwhile, Cody Bell and Felicia Scorpio wrestled with teenage uncertainty and romantic tension at the Quartermain stables. Cody's focus was scattered, his thoughts preoccupied with Molly Lansing Davis and the events of their first official date. The search for James' riding gloves became secondary to the emotional turbulence he felt over potential rejection. Felicia offered encouragement, reminding Cody that vulnerability and emotional risk were not weaknesses but essential parts of pursuing love. Cody, however, feared that his candid expressions of admiration and affection might have intimidated Molly, disrupting the fragile progress they had made in their relationship. Despite his apprehension, Cody's recognition of Molly's exceptional qualities, her intelligence, warmth, and charisma, made it impossible for him to suppress his feelings. Each interaction, each shared glance, reinforced the depth of his affection and the urgency of expressing it. Later, Molly and her sister Christina convened at the Port Charles Grill, dissecting the nuances of Molly's first date with Cody. Christina's reaction, ranging from shock to disbelief, highlighted the impulsivity of Molly's actions, particularly her choices in intimate matters. Molly confessed regret over her previous indecision, acknowledging the awkwardness of miscommunication and the necessity of clarifying her intentions. Christina, ever the pragmatic voice, urged her sister to embrace honesty and pursue the relationship with determination, offering both encouragement and a gentle push toward reconciliation. As the evening unfolded, Michael and Jacinda joined Christina at the restaurant, navigating their own interpersonal complexities. Apologies were exchanged, reconciliations were brokered, and Wiley's playful competitiveness added levity to an otherwise tension-filled narrative. The interplay of trust, accountability, and familial dynamics underscored the recurring theme of General Hospital, the interplay of personal ambition, loyalty, and moral judgment in a city where secrets are currency and alliances are fragile. Back at the stables, Molly arrived unexpectedly to confront Cody, signaling the culmination of their long-standing tension. Felicia wisely offered them privacy, allowing the two young lovers to resolve their feelings without interference. Molly, with uncharacteristic resolve, took the first step to articulate her intentions, officially declaring her desire to be Cody's girlfriend. Cody, who had long admired her and pondered the potential of their connection, accepted wholeheartedly, solidifying a relationship that had been building through subtle gestures, shared moments, and mutual respect. The declaration marked a moment of triumph, not just for romantic fulfillment but for the courage to embrace emotional vulnerability in a world fraught with uncertainty. The Quartermaine mansion, however, remained a hotbed of tension and confrontation. Tracy, ever the matriarch, reinstated her traditional cocktail hour, drawing together family members and allies under the guise of social convention. While Chase expressed support for the revival of the tradition, Ned questioned the prudence of indulging in such rituals amidst ongoing conflict. Tracy's announcement of a court order, compelling Drew to return the family heirlooms, reignited old tensions, particularly given Drew's volatile behavior. Olivia's attempts to promote peace were met with resistance, especially as Ned revealed the severity of Drew's previous actions, abandoning him during a heart attack, leaving him for dead. The escalation reached a fever pitch when Drew, defiant and unrepentant, barged into the mansion to confront Tracy and assert his perceived moral superiority. Tensions between him, Brooke Lynn, and Olivia erupted in a series of emotional outbursts. Olivia, driven by both rage and principle, pointed a gun directly at Drew, emphasizing the stakes of accountability, justice, and vengeance. She threatened him with lethal force, framing her actions within both personal and familial imperatives. Drew had endangered Ned's life, and she would not tolerate such recklessness. Drew, recognizing the seriousness of Olivia's resolve and the potential consequences of confrontation, made the prudent choice to retreat, demonstrating that survival in Port Charles often demands both courage and strategic acquiescence. Amid these explosive personal and familial dramas, Alexis Davis's legal prowess came to the forefront. Trina Robinson and Kai Taylor approached her with crucial information, asserting that they had evidence confirming Willow's guilt in the shooting of Drew Kane. Alexis, though initially skeptical, listened as they detailed their observations, including the pivotal moment when Willow's distinctive ringtone, "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star," was heard at the scene. This revelation, corroborated by meticulous attention to detail and logical deduction, challenged Alexis to reconcile her role as a defense attorney with the weight of emerging truth. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Alexis remained committed to her professional obligations. She reminded Trina and Kai that taking matters into their own hands could implicate them legally, underscoring the complex interplay between morality, justice, and legal responsibility in Port Charles. Their disappointment was palpable as they departed, leaving Alexis to confront the stark reality that her client was indeed guilty. In a climactic moment of investigative verification, Alexis cross-referenced Willow's phone records and made a pivotal call to Wiley. His confirmation of the ringtone's timing and origin solidified the case, leaving no room for doubt. The revelation was as shocking as it was inevitable, forcing Alexis to navigate the delicate balance between legal duty and personal knowledge of wrongdoing. Through it all, encouragement, confrontation, and fiery threats permeated the narrative. Characters like Felicia, Christina, and Michael offered support and guidance to those navigating emotional and moral labyrinths. Meanwhile, Olivia's threats, Drew's defiance, and Willow's hidden duplicity illustrated the high stakes of power, secrecy, and retribution in Port Charles. Relationships were tested, moral boundaries blurred, and the consequences of choice became starkly apparent, creating a tapestry of suspense, tension, and emotional resonance that defines General Hospital. The week of January 12th to 16th is thus a masterclass in soap opera storytelling, courage, confrontation, hidden agendas, and shocking revelations intersect with love, loyalty, and moral reckoning. From Molly and Cody's newfound romance to Drew and Willow's combustible interactions, from Alexis' legal diligence to Olivia's threatening resolve, every character navigates a world where secrets can shatter lives, and every choice carries profound implications. General Hospital continues to remind viewers why Port Charles is a city of intrigue, where the line between heroism and villainy, love and betrayal, justice and revenge, is always dangerously thin.